Alright, this week we are going to be roasting a venison roast, and I'm going to slow roast this. I'm probably going to be like 8 or 9 hours of roasting. Venison does not have as much fat as pork or beef does. It's not marbled the same as beef is. It doesn't have as much natural fat as pork does. So I have to cheat a little bit. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to use a French technique called larding, which means I'm going to be layering it with fat, which is this bacon, layering it over the top so that will help soak into it and keep it moist through the long cooking process. Another thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making a pesto. Pesto is a French pesto, but it does not use pine nuts. So it has all the same elements as pesto, but without the pine nuts. And I'm going to actually cover that. That's going to give it just another layer of extra moisture because it's going to have the olive oil in there. Just enough to keep it moist throughout that long cooking process, as well as to bring in some extra flavor. It's going to sit overnight like I would anything else I'm going to slow roast, so it'll absorb some of that flavors before I actually throw it in to cook it. So tomorrow I will actually finish cooking this and we'll see what it looks like. So now we're moving into the pesto. I have about an ounce of basil, like so. Adding to that, I'm adding a ounce of garlic. I'll start. Now, I'm going to slowly add the olive oil to it because I want it to kind of emulsify a little bit. So we're going to leave that running. Start adding it in. Let's see where we are. We can actually go a little bit longer, as you can see, but it looks pretty good right now. We got pretty much just the right amount of olive oil. You could measure it out. I like to just do it by sight. I've been doing it long enough. I know what it is I want it to look like when I'm done. And that is pretty much it right there. It's not soupy. More like a paste, which is going to be perfect for putting on this. Now you're going to check the flavor a little bit. Pretty close. I'm going to add just a touch of salt and let it run again, just to get that salt mixed in there. Okay, now doing a weird trick with the bacon. I cut it in half. I am now going to lace it together. I could have left it in solid pieces, but it's not going to work the way I want it to, so I'm going a little bit different. This layering will actually give me a solid layer on the pork itself, or on the venison itself, like so. Going to do a couple of those just to cover across the top of it. Got our bacon ready. We're going to add, and we're going to salt the top of this a little bit. That way it'll help soak in some of that extra flavor. In fact, you can flip it. Salt the bottom. There we go. Now, that pesto is going to go on it. You just want to layer that right on. Nice crust of pesto. Like so. Don't be shy, you can use all of it. It's cool. look about like that when you're done. Now, take your bacon like so, start layering it onto the venison.
Now go.
Okay, so now tomorrow after this is all cooked, we can slice into it and we'll have the bacon and that pesto kind of as a sandwich right there in the venison. Okay, now one of the elements we're adding into dinner tonight, some green beans. These green beans are going to be mixed with green onion, ginger, and garlic. Throwing in a little knob of butter first. We're going to add some oil to the butter to raise the smoke point a little bit. That way we still get the good butter flavor, but it's not going to burn quite as easily. Add in our flavorings. Salt, pepper, now these are fresh green beans. I actually steamed these earlier, so they're pretty close to done right now. So one method you can use, you can also boil them. Steaming, you use a little bit less water. Let this cook for a second, maybe more. Beans. So the main thing we're actually going to be doing is we're going to be heating these, just basically bringing these up to temp, heating them up. Get that flavor in there. Cook them just a little bit. They're pretty close to cooked all the way through. From here, let these cook off, then we'll finish off everything else. Okay. Everything's done. The roast came out great, so we're going to start slicing into it. There was a bone in there, you got to watch that part of it. So, finishing off that plate, these pieces right over there. I'm going to throw in that bacon. Some of them beans. So we got venison roast with mustard potato salad and green beans.